DNA, whatever they have to do, fight, kick, scratch to find a way to pull off what would be just the second biggest upset of the day. And really the World Cup feels like it's finally underway on day 3 here in Qatar with what Saudi Arabia did earlier against Argentina. Are we in for another shock here tonight in the nightcap? Or can France continue the quest to try to become the first back-to-back winners of a FIFA Men's World Cup since the 1960s? Underway! It is France, Les Bleus, appropriately enough, wearing blue. It is the Socceroos of Australia in yellow. On paper, you really couldn't have a bigger contrast of two teams at this World Cup. France, the defending champions, the 2-time winners. Australia, only once in their history, have even advanced out of their group. France are number 4 in FIFA's world rankings. They cruised unbeaten in European World Cup qualifying. Australia's number 38 in the rankings. They had an absolute marathon over a period of 3 years. Rarely even played games at home because of COVID regulations. Had to beat Peru in a shootout in a last chance playoff in June. Dembele around the outside on Bayesh, clips the cross along. Kylian Mbappe, one of the biggest stars in the entire world. His first touches of the World Cup, and it's set away by Sheeptards. And in saying that, France, serious injury questions coming in. They have really struggled as 1 win in 6 games since qualifying for the World Cup. As that one will spin behind for a French corner, whereas Australia, somewhat more settled side, they've had great form coming in off that.
You saw the penalty in that Saudi Arabia-Argentina match for pulling. So all of these players will have seen that and be aware of that.
Mbappe sends it in, flicked along, sent out by Bayesh. Dembele back through the traffic and blocked. It's going to be a whistle and a foul. Victor Gomez, our referee from South Africa, in charge tonight. And you see Didier Deschamps, tons of questions coming in at all the players he's missing because of injury, some of the natural leaders he's missing. He said, listen, there's no apprehension, there's no anxiety, we have everything we need. And he said leadership will come over time, it evolves naturally. But he also famously ahead of the tournament talked about, I'm not here to have a good time, I'm here to win. And trying to instill that mentality into his French team.
Great work from Aaron Moy there in the middle of the field. Some space in behind.
One switch is going to fall kindly to McGree. Couldn't test Hugo Lloris, though.
There was a cross-field pass looking on this near side for Goodwin. Ends up at the feet of McGree in the middle of the field, and he takes a good first touch, gets it in front of his body, and then he was getting closed down by Ousmane Dembele on his weak side, just tried to get the ball off his foot. And off the goal kick, you're seeing Australia stepping up here, trying to get some pressure, and they've won it back.
Goodwin there knocked it away. Couldn't get on the end of the return. It was swept out by Konate. Goodwin brought down by McCree. Knocked away by Griezmann. Listen, these two teams faced off in their opener in Russia. France barely won 2-1 on a late own goal. So it's not like they came out flying 4 years ago either. Hugo Lloris saying we won, but we didn't play well. And it's something the Australians certainly remember, is how they played France all the way in Kazan. Atkinson brings it down. Griezmann sliding through. Moy holds it in for the Australians. McGree all the way across now for Goodwin. Goodwin's cross on the deck, stabbed sideways by Konate. French right now having a hard time getting out. Back inside for McGree. He's trying to find the angle there. Pavard was closing him down and couldn't play in for Goodwin. Deschamps, who is the longest tenured manager of any coach here at this World Cup. Graham Arnold started going old school. The wheels fell off late in the World Cup qualifying campaign for Australia. That was where he started to go back to fight, kick, punch, Aussie DNA, be the punching kangaroo, those sorts of things to try to will his team through the Intercontinental playoff against Peru.
You're going to see a lot of flexibility in the French system and the way in which they play, and a lot of that is Griezmann. He drops deep at times. You're going to see him on the right. You're going to see him at the left, trying to unbalance this Australian defense. Now, it's important for the Australians to stay organized within their defensive system as well, as here comes Mbappe.
Mbappe driving in, cutting back, and just got crowded out before it's cleared by Sheeptards.
But how do you prepare for Mbappe on one side, Dembele on the other side? Two excellent dribblers, 1v1, can take on any type of fullback and get you on your back foot, and the little hesitation that they both have. We've seen it early. They feint like they're going to cross, they cut you back, and then they cut you back again and just get that half yard of space, and that's where then attacking players try to crash in front of that box.
Pavard immediately pressured there by Goodwin, and he has an extra word for Goodwin, as does the referee, Victor Gomez. That one's going to skip two pass for Mbappe, the global breakout star of the last World Cup, the young player of the tournament, first teenager to score in a World Cup final since some guy named Pele. How would you describe what that level of expectation but pressure as well is like on Kylian Mbappe?
Oh, it's huge, but he carries that every single week and day at Paris Saint-Germain, where he plays his club soccer. He's linked every single year to bigger clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona, and he's opted recently to stay in Paris and also carrying that team to that title in 2018 and all of that. And I can just say, for that guy, he continues to deliver every single time. You think he can't go another step further? Well, he does. Scored in the World Cup final, won the World Cup. Then the only thing he hasn't got yet, the Champions League title. And that's the one that PSG are chasing as well.
Trying to play there up from Magritte. Pavard knocked it away. Griezmann slipped as he was battling with Moy. Next step by Rabiot. Rabiot really being asked to be a leader in midfield. No Paul Pogba, no N'Golo Kanté. Not just two starters, two of the key linchpins of that France team that won the World Cup 4.5 years ago. They were both ruled out with injuries before the tournament. They thought they were going to have Karim Benzema, who won the Ballon d'Or as World Player of the Year just in October. He went out with an injury on Saturday. Hernandez keeps that in play, but a comfortable touch to side across for Matty Ryan. Sheeptards on the ball. First game in a year for Australia since a torn ACL last November in a World Cup qualifier. Clip long for Duke to chase. Duke down off the chest, poked away from behind. That was Upamecano slid across with him.
The Australians have had a decent amount of possession early in this game. France sitting back a bit, which is no different to how they approached 2018.
Lecky, great first touch. Hernandez is down. He's hurt behind the play, and it's the opening goal for Australia. Craig Goodwin, 9th minute, and the Aussies have the lead against the champions.
Well, they just carve open this French defense, and Hernandez is down after the play, gripping that right knee, but it's a long crossfield pass, and just the pace of the ball, it beats Hernandez. He can't get there. He's not tight enough. Pretty hurt at the end of that, but that bending ball behind the back line, and then Goodwin just takes a gamble that he's going to play that ball early. He still has to maintain focus here. How often do you see players put that over the crossbar because they have so much time to think about it, try to go with too much power? He just goes more with placement, and it's past Hugo Lloris and gives the Aussies the shock lead here. 1-0. But still concern behind the play with Luca Hernandez, who's down. This is a player that has had and missed significant time with his club, Bayern Munich, with some bigger injuries.
Well, injury added to insult for the French right now. One of their 6 starters from the World Cup final 4 years ago, down hurt.
It's hard to tell exactly what he did, but he gets caught off guard by Lecky getting him off balance, taking that one first time. I think Hernandez is expecting him to take a touch close to his body, but instead he takes the heavier touch back the other way. And then Hernandez is trying to react. He's getting carried off the field right now by 2 French trainers. And it looks like they're going to make a change.
I mean, an incredible contrast in emotion. You would naturally expect with that goal, but the injury on top of it. And so France restart. Now, they've not been allowed the substitution. The French coaching staff are yelling at the referees right now. They're playing with 10 until the next stoppage. And they can get Luca Hernandez's younger brother, Theo Hernandez, onto the field as his replacement. And meanwhile, here's Australia. Have not won a game in any of their last 2 World Cup appearances. That's 3 games each. 1 win in their last 9 World Cup games in total. They led exactly 4 minutes to the last 2 World Cups combined. They lead France, at least for a moment. Mbappe in, sent up in the air by Rolls. Second early French corner.
Now they're going to make the change. So they'll get Theo Hernandez on now.
So the younger brother replacing the injured older brother. Theo Hernandez making his World Cup debut. Just his 8th international appearance. And now Mbappe, the ensuing corner swung in, sent out by Lecky, who got the assist on the goal. Theo's first touch is fired in and sent back away. Mbappe lifting that one in, takes the deflection. Matty Ryan's going to come get it. This was not a strength of Australia World Cup qualifying. In games, 5 times they took leads, they couldn't hold it. That was sort of a metaphor for their entire qualifying campaign. At one point, they won 11 straight matches. No one had ever done that before in any World Cup qualifying campaign. And it was an absolute disaster by the end. They had to go through the playoff. So what do they do now? Playing with the lead. Matty Ryan is forced to just dump it long and out of play. And it has stunned the French fans and that man here at Al Janoub Stadium.
We saw an aggressive approach from Australia early into the game. As soon as the ball went back in the French end, they're stepping up, they're getting pressure, they're playing in their face a little bit, and then France were allowing them possession around midfield. It still is a ball that when the ball goes wide, they're in a good spot until Hernandez goes down and the game opens up.
There's Theo Hernandez, gets the cross in, Moy is there to send it out. Lecky trying to chase because he knows there's a left back. It's come upfield. Chris, but really alert to come get it. Chouameni, one of the newcomers to this French team. Upamecano, another. Center back has been a real source of injury concern for France coming in. They've got a couple of starting quality center backs on the bench, have been dealing with injuries of late. They lost one completely off the roster. Presnel Kimpembe just before the tournament, clipped over the top. Mbappe brings it down. Giroud's in the middle. Mbappe cutting back, rolled in. Griezmann let it go. Didn't find Dembele.
That's just the pass they're missing right now. They're able to get in behind this Australian back line pretty comfortably, whether it's Mbappe on the left. That's where the majority of the play has been the last couple of minutes here. They've been focusing on Mbappe, getting him faced up 1-against-1. He's beaten his man almost every time, but it's that last pass. It's picking out a blue shirt when they're in the box and they're getting into good spots.
Rabiot able to keep under the pressure. Quarter hour gone, and a very quiet right now. Al Janoub Stadium. Great Goodwin, his second ever goal for Australia, giving them the lead over the defending champions in the 9th minute. His other goal was in January against Vietnam in a World Cup qualifier. Matthew Leckie got the assist. He's pushed off it. Let's call it what it is. If you're an Australian player and you see Saudi Arabia beat Argentina earlier today, does that give you a mental boost?
It should, for sure. I think it's something we were talking a little bit about before we came on here, that for the Aussies, they could use that as inspiration, and for the French, they could use that as a reminder of what can happen. What we've seen so far in the beginning is more from the Australian side, and that they've approached this game with aggression. They haven't sat back in fear. They get the goal. They're leading in this game. Now the key is going to be maintaining that. You think about the effort that the Saudi Arabian team put in over the course of the rest of that game. Even they trailed. They weren't leading in that match. So what's your mindset at that point? Is Konate was looking for Mbappe.
Matty Ryan already is in clock-killing mode. So just milk off a few seconds. Said this is a French team. It's not come in great form. Just one win in their 6 games in the UEFA Nations League. Those are the games they played in June and September. Actually, the worst stretch of results that the French have had coming into a World Cup since 1958. Now, they had a tremendous World Cup in Sweden. Got to the semifinal. It was that guy Pele that beat him in that one. You see those numbers. 4 of the last 5 defending champions knocked out. It was the French in 2002 that began that precedent. It was the first time that a defending champion had ever been beaten in their second time they've been beaten in the opening game. First time they failed to get out when France lost to Senegal in the opening match of the tournament in South Korea. And the French, it's been written about a lot. They have this weird history of a really good World Cup followed up by a really bad World Cup. Teo Hernandez is going to get to that one. Leckie sliding through.
It's
going to stay in. He cuts it back. Then finds Giroud.
Now look at the space they have on that left-hand side. Well, the French is left. One thing Australia doing really well right now when they win the ball back is keeping it. Aaron Moy could have just turned and hooked that one down the field, get the team up. Instead, he turns, he picks out a yellow shirt. They work their way up the field. They've got some possession now. And then all of a sudden, they're able to spray the ball around, and another great ball out wide right to find Leckie.
Brings it down, at least tries to, takes the bump from Teo Hernandez, no foul.
You sent my brother to the deck. You're not sending me to the deck.
Teo working hard to carry it forward. He's very often been just called Teo and had his first name in the back of his shirt because of his famous brother, just to differentiate the two. Ousmane Dembele. Boy, he leaves Goodwin in the dust. Into the middle for Mbappe. Giroud poked away. Soutar, key touch. Job not done. Dembele on it. Dembele, Mbappe, cleared away.
Oh, it's so fun just watching Mbappe and Dembele gliding around the field with the ball essentially glued to their feet, getting defenders off balance, close control, little combination passes. But still, the Australian team, they're staying compact, so they're keeping their lines very narrow. That midfield, look how tight that midfield, the gap is between there and the defense. They don't want Mbappe and Dembele picking it up behind their midfield and be able to turn and hurt them in those spots.
Mbappe just trying to keep the ball moving and keep it cycling around. Pavard wide for Dembele. Draws the double. Glides inside them both. Just gets that away. The sliding Duke. Big tackle in the middle as Jackson Irvine came through.
An absolute cruncher from Jackson Irvine, who said, I'm not losing this one. It was a 50-50 ball, and it popped away from Chouameni. And you find out a lot about somebody, whether you're going in for that one or you're pulling out of it. And both players got stuck in, and Irvine was making sure he wasn't losing.
Atkinson there. That sort of popped back up on him, and all he could do was slice it out for a throw. Giroud crowded off it. Griezmann trying to get on the end of it. Bajic cleans it up for Ryan. Second ball brought down by McGree. Here's Goodwin, goal scorer for Australia. Goodwin's driven cross, popped up in the air by Tchouaméni. Pavard comes out of there with it. Griezmann, space for Dembele, and had to be dealt with by Kai Rolls, and was. Griezmann. Well, that was the referee that screened Rabiot. If the ball had touched the ref, the play would have stopped. Not if the two of them collide. And it's given away. Duke picks it up. Duke! Oh, that didn't miss by much. Hugo Lloris was at full stretch, and you heard the big exhale here at Al Janoub Stadium.
And it hit something very close to the goal that sounded like the post. It's just a careless giveaway from the French again. Just a really heavy touch. It gets stuck under his feet. He's trying to lay it back. And Duke picks his head up and sees Lloris backpedaling. He doesn't get his feet set. It's a good-looking strike. He's over the top of it. Hits his laces right through the middle, and that thing is peeling away inches wide with Lloris at full stretch.
Well, we got 4 more matches tomorrow for you across our Fox networks. FS1 starts today. Morocco and Croatia beaten finalists 4 years ago. Then the former champions Germany against Japan. On Fox, the doubleheader tomorrow. Spain, Costa Rica, Belgium, Canada. The Canadians back at the World Cup for the first time since '86. Coverage 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific. Here's Goodwin for Australia. Pressure there. Bajic able to keep it. Knocked away, but it falls to Aaron Moy. Very excited to see Canada back at the World Cup. Just the second time they've ever qualified. So many familiar names and faces from Major League Soccer. Tough task against Belgium. So that's clipped over the top. Flag's going to stay down. Duke couldn't hold it up and then commits the foul. And Mbappe trying to get this French team going. Tchouaméni, Griezmann making a run. This guy's got his hands out saying, where do you want me to go with it?
Yeah, well, that was a good run, though, from Griezmann, because it's through the middle, and if that's what they need now, the French. They got to get some midfielders beyond that back line and start to open up some space wide so you can get Mbappe 1-against-1 instead of 1-against-3 at times.
Becky defending. Mbappe couldn't juggle his way through. Atkinson just made himself big enough there to knock it away.
And that's what the Australians want to do to defend against Mbappe. 1-against-1, you've got no chance. Very few have a chance against him 1v1. But when you have 2 and you force him wide and you get help on your left or right shoulder, it helps just slow him down a bit, and then you can win the ball back, or you force him backwards.
Pavard looking for the run of Rabiot. It's past him. Pavard scored the goal of the tournament at the last World Cup. An incredible screamer against Argentina in the round of 16. I like what they see right now. Very early tomorrow morning in Australia. Duke battling in the air. Moy will pick it up. Spray that out towards Goodwin. Pavard up for it. Bajic wins the second header. Been able to find Griezmann. Now Rabiot. Mbappe showing for it. Mbappe trying to turn and run on Atkinson. Mbappe the speed showed too much of it to Sheeptards.
Yeah, that's the help again. He's going to beat the first man, and he did. He beats Atkinson. He's not tight enough when he picks the ball up initially, so Mbappe feels the space. He turns, he runs.
Hey, Hernandez. Pamecano for Pavard has come all the way into the middle of the field. Opens it up for Dembele. Dembele can't get past Goodwin. He sent it wide. Here's Dembele, just his 8th game in 4 years for France with a bunch of injuries he's dealt with. Griezmann popped in the air, rolls, got a foot in. And that'll be another corner for France, 3rd of the game.
He's the one that's starting to find some space because he has more of a license to roam within the attacking setup for France, that he can, as we said earlier, can drop a little bit deeper, but now he's starting to run beyond the back line, and it's opening up some space. That time they dropped with him.
Griezmann to take the corner this time. Header one away. Pamecano. Theo Hernandez trying to reset. Ryan stays at home. It's a goal. It's a tying goal for France. Adrien Rabiot popping up and all square after 26 minutes.
And it comes off a recycled corner kick. So the first one comes in, Australia able to clear it. And this is what's difficult sometimes, because now you're stepping out. And originally you had your man that you were marking on the corner, and you have to quickly try and organize yourself. So that's what they don't do well on the second one. It's a great ball in, though, from Hernandez with the left foot. It's bending, and it was Rabiot, one of 3 French attackers that stayed up, and he's the one that connects with it, has a lot of time. It's a free header 6 yards out, and just redirects it the other way past Matty Ryan and into the back of the net. So the French were struggling to create from open play. They get a chance from a set piece, but great awareness and also a great ball in initially. And this one's being checked for offside, but it has been cleared, and we're all level here.
Adrien Rabiot didn't make the roster 4 years ago. They put him on the standby list, which is guys that they basically said, we're going to send you a fitness plan, stay sharp in case we have an injury. Is that ball out of play? It is. Ryan didn't get there. It's going to be a corner. Rabiot said, no, I'm good. I want to go on vacation. Deschamps was furious, kicked him off the team for 2 years. He returned as a starter at the European Championship, starting in this World Cup because of injuries, and he gets the tying goal, and the corner's taken short. It's Mbappe who sends it in. Sheeptards sends it out. And how quickly for Australia you've gone from a position of leading the reigning champions to just in survival mode these next few minutes as France continue the press. Here's Dembele. Chouameni hands it off for Theo Hernandez. Griezmann, Mbappe, Sheeptards the block with his 6'6" frame. It's a 5th French.
They're going to play this
corner.
short, I think, here. Oh, they're going to leave it for Griezmann. I thought Mbappe was going to try and quickly pop it off to him, but I think they like the looks that they're getting off these set pieces, and the service from Griezmann has been excellent.
Griezmann's outswinger, just too tall for Konate, held in by Dembele on the other side. Theo Hernandez has to chase it down. Griezmann picks it up. Griezmann, his cross into a great area, and it's over the top. And Giroud didn't score a single goal last World Cup. He'd love to get one tonight.
He would. And when this ball comes in, you're going to see, I think there's only 3 outfield players not inside the 18-yard box. And Giroud would have been offside. The flag did actually come up after that play, so that would not have counted either way. But it's the second play in quick succession where it's come off a corner, and Australia aren't stepping their line out quick enough. That's the other way to defend that. If you're not getting pressure on the ball, you either all step or you all drop. Sitting on top of your goalkeeper is a dangerous game, as he already found out by conceding.
Acrobatics from Pavard to keep that in play. Aaron Moy, he was trying to hook that upfield. It sliced backwards. Bayage was alert to it. Nervy moments for Australia. You see Giroud there, just 2 back of Thierry Henry's all-time record. He did not score a single goal in 7 games the last World Cup. 13 shots, 0 of them on frame. You know, Karim Benzema knocked out because of injury. Well, he went in the last World Cup anyway. Didn't even get a goal from their center forward. They found a way.
We often talk about the different types of roles for different center forwards and the different ways that teams play. It just so happens that the way that France play now, not as much as the last World Cup, but where the center forward's dropping underneath and then you've got players going behind. So it actually takes you at times further away from goal, but what you're doing is being the ultimate team player, and that you're creating space for everybody else. You're being that back to goal guy that then lays it off for the other guys to shine. So I think if you asked Olivier Giroud, would he have rather scored 1 goal at the World Cup in 2018 or won the World Cup? I think he would rather have won it.
He's been behind Mbappe and Bajic wanting to have Ryan come and get it, which he finally does. So an eventful half hour at Al Janoub Stadium, about 15 miles south of central Doha, in the suburb of Al Raqqa. 40,000 capacity stadium. It was silent for a long stretch with the majority of French fans after Australia took the lead. How about that? Rabiot running in from Mbappe. Giroud on cue. First goal at the World Cup. France have come from behind to take the lead.
A little kiss and a little merci beaucoup there from Giroud for just laid on a platter for him. They win the ball high up the field, and it's Rabiot at the heart of it once again. He wins the ball back. He drives at the back line. He just waits for the right moment. That ball from Matty Ryan puts his... That, when it goes wide, is that heavy touch that allows Rabiot to get in front. And then the little flick as well from Mbappe, just silky smooth around the corner. And then that's where, as a striker, you've been in a high position already. These are the types of balls that you want returned to you, or it's cut back, you're 6 yards out. Really can't miss from there. He goes with the right foot in the end. So now Rabiot with a goal and an assist. Actually comes off his heel a little bit, but he has a wide open goal, and that one will feel good. Because as you talked about, hadn't scored at the last World Cup, was on their way. And Giroud's off to the races, and so are France now leading 2-1.
50th career international goal for Olivier Giroud, one back of the legendary Thierry Henry for the French record. Did score the 2014 World Cup against Switzerland, but just 2 goals in 13 games on the world's greatest stage. And a guy that was, well, he was going to be the backup, wasn't he? Karim Benzema, maybe the best goal scorer in the world right now. Giroud, you can come too if you want. And then Benzema goes down. Giroud is the starter. And he gets an opening night goal. Now, how do the Australians respond? That's goals 5 minutes apart that have wiped away their lead. Trying to press high again, Australia.
Here it is again. Irvine plays it wide. It's a heavy touch from Atkinson, and he doesn't expect that Rabiot is going to play so aggressively. Just pokes it away. Mbappe alert to it. A little flick around the corner, and then from there, there's no chance. Everybody had committed to the ball. And there's a couple things, though. Sometimes, Rabiot, if you've scored a goal, you want to go for that second. You see a player shoot at goal. Very unselfishly lays it back for Giroud. And I think that's why you saw after Giroud went straight up to him, gave him a little kiss on the cheek and a thank you, because he's off the mark as well.
Well, an assist for Rabiot. Even that little moment there with Kylian Mbappe, a little bit of a flick, but you can see it's facilitating for him right now. Dembele. Rabiot. Tchouaméni. Theo Hernandez. And Kylian Mbappe. Again, just adds a little bit of a flourish to it. It's a fairly simple touch. Tchouaméni coming in, nowhere to go. Griezmann able to turn. Hand off for Mbappe. Mbappe now tight quarters. Griezmann going to take it away from Giroud. Bajic first to react.
Yeah, France are just queuing up for it now. It's almost become a training exercise after what was a lively start for the Australians. They're forcing them deeper and deeper and deeper So much so that almost at times 10 players are inside the box. The French have time and space on top. It's the little combination passes. They wait, they wait, they wait. They shift you side to side, and then they attack with such speed.
So what do you do if you're Australia right now?
Well, you've got to try and inch up the field. You need the ball. You have to have some possession to relieve some of that pressure. If not, you have to try to release on the counterattack. But the problem is now that their wingers in Goodwin and Leckie are so deep to having to defend and help out their fullbacks who are dealing with this.
Bayic gets blown past by Dembele. It's a chance there over the top from Giroud. It was Mbappe the first effort that was blocked.
Yeah, so if you're leaving your fullback 1v1, he's got Ousmane Dembele picking up steam, scooting by him, putting dangerous balls into the box. There you go. There's the acceleration. And then the head is up. It picks it up. It's a good-looking strike from Mbappe. Might have been wide. Ends up hitting, rolls in the face. And then Giroud on the follow-up with a weaker right foot. It's over the crossbar.
Incidentally, around the world, that's known as the Mexican wave because it was first noticed at the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. Fans at Husky Stadium in the University of Washington have long claimed that as their own. That's a duck giving them credit, by the way, just for the record. But it's the first time we've seen that here in Qatar. Sheeptards able to bring that down. Can Australia just find some sort of level footing right now with 8 minutes to go in the half? They're going to be gifted a throw as Chouameni couldn't do anything with that. We're one day closer to the second game for the United States. Black Friday, England. Doesn't need much more selling than that. Coverage starts at 1 Eastern in the PM, 10 a.m. Pacific, live on Fox. My goodness, what a day that'll be. Pressure on for the U.S. to be sure. We'll see what happens earlier that day between Wales and Iran. What sort of pressure it adds to the United States. A lot of Gio Reyna talk going on right now. You have any hot takes you want to give us yet? Or
Gotta save those, John. You can't use them all at once.
Just being sure.
I think the biggest question for the United States is going to be who comes out of that Wales game fully healthy, and what type of lineup are we looking at from Greg Berhalter's perspective? Because you have to think you've got England and then you have the game against Iran last, probably needing 3 points out of those 2 games, depending on what happens in the Wales-Iran match, and managing those next 2 with players and minutes and everything that goes into that. So I think the U.S. will be feeling frustrated. They didn't get all 3. We've heard that a lot. I think you and I both felt that after the game, but the first half, there was a lot of positives and encouragement.
You know you've got to win one of those last 2. Bare minimum, you need 4 points to advance, and probably some help still. If you can get a win, we'll see if the U.S. can do that starting on Friday against England. How's Didier Deschamps feeling right now?
Much better. This is a French team that started the game the first couple of minutes well, but then Australia had that moment, the goal from Goodwin. They go behind. They're struggling all of a sudden, but now the game has really opened up, and there's some real space for them to attack.
Mbappe from Theo Hernandez. Mbappe into the middle. Dembele couldn't get full contact.
That's been the biggest difference as well. It's just how quickly they are playing, how incisive they are. The ball movement so fast and crisp. And when they get out in transition, look out. The timing, the passing is good. That time Mbappe once again, he's trying to pick out Dembele. You see Giroud, he drags the defender towards goal right there, pushing the center back out of the way to create space. Then for Dembele to have a clear look at goal. This was a tough ball. It was hitting with pace. It was bouncing, and he's leaning back as he's trying to redirect that one on the net.
Dembele almost got there on Ryan. Australia just cannot get anything in the attacking half right now with 5 minutes to go before the break. Denmark and Tunisia scoreless draw earlier today. The other game in the group. Games with a statistical edge, 5 shots on goal. There was only 1 scoreless draw the entire World Cup in Russia. It was Denmark-France. We had the pleasure of being there at Luzhniki Stadium. Both teams, they knew they were going through. They rested all their starters. They were just sort of going through the motions. So Denmark participating in the first scoreless draw this tournament. Hopefully the only one. Here's Mbappe. Griezmann. Chouameni. Duke doing a lot of running, but more fruit to the end of those labors. You can see some of his frustrated body language right now. He's sort of shrugging his shoulders. Sutar intercepts that one, given right back. Chouameni, back from Giroud, out for Dembele, and Mbappe making the run in, and it comes stabbed out of there by Rolls. Griezmann's touch, can it fall for Duke? No, that was alert work with Upamecano.
The center forward. You're barely going to touch the ball. You're going to run around a lot and not even get close to anybody. And then they're just giving it away every time. That was part of what I felt they did early in the game. Well, it's not going to be a foul.
Like a foul. Dembele comes out of there with it. Ousmane Dembele, Kylian Mbappe, 1v3. Griezmann pulls it wide.
I feel he's been good for them in this game so far. Griezmann is finding good space, whether it's on the left, the right. This time Mbappe wants the shot. He recognizes he's got two defenders. Eyes in the back of the head, rolls it backwards, and he's trying to pull it back to the near post, anticipating and hoping that Matty Ryan's going to go to his right, and he's going to catch him leaning. Ends up dragging the shot wide.
He scored 4 goals in the last World Cup. He was man of the match in the final. He won the bronze ball, which is essentially the 3rd best player in the whole tournament. Antoine Griezmann has not scored any of his last 9 games for France. That dates back a year. It's his longest ever drought for his national team.
And he's been in such a weird situation as well at his club level. We went from long-term club in Atletico Madrid, goes to Barcelona, then they sell him back to Atletico Madrid, and then there was kind of a disagreement, or Atletico Madrid being clever in the way in which they couldn't play him over a certain number of minutes per game, or they would have triggered a price that would have been double. So they just kept bringing him off the bench every game, and he never got to start a match until they eventually negotiated a cheaper price. And you've seen him a lot more for that club. Always such an impactful player for Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid.
Good turn by McGree, and they're able to keep it for Australia. They can actually string a few passes together here. Gets under pressure. Moy couldn't find the pass in. Chouameni, Rabiot. France will retreat. One of the interesting nuggets coming in on France. In their last 10 competitive matches, excluding friendlies, over the last year, only once had they scored in the first half of a game. Scored a ton in the last half an hour, but they've not gotten out early. They've scored twice in the first half, coming from behind here tonight. Ray Goodwin, the 9th minute goal. Rabiot and Giroud, 5 minutes apart, midway through the half. A half which we see will have 6 added minutes, in large part because of that Hernandez, or the Lucas Hernandez injury. Griezmann's going to get on the end of that one. Griezmann in the middle, and it's missed. Mbappe. He can't believe it.
Yeah, Jinx. He can't. And it's Griezmann again. He's running off the ball. It was a training exercise in the back, and what I was talking about, slow the tempo, boom, there comes the run outside to in. He's looking right across the line, so he knows how to curve his run and stay on side. First touch is out of his feet. Griezmann has his hands on his head after. He can't believe that Kylian Mbappe, one of the best goal scorers in the world, misses from there. And he's been red hot too. 7 goals in his last 6 matches in the French league. He's got 12 on the season, 4 goals at the last World Cup. On and on and on and on. And it won't be the last chance he gets at this tournament, and you wouldn't bet against him to score in this tournament.
Lucky outdueled by Upamecano. Almost given away though. Theo Hernandez, they're slipping on the outside. Australia have a throw. We're into first half stoppage time. Aaron Moy. Australia getting outshot 10-3. And only 2 of those 10 French shots have hit the target. The 2 goals. Aziz Bayic now for Australia. Got in the way. Long run for McGree to get there. He does into the middle. Header bouncing off the post. That was Irvine. Lloris was just watching, and it clipped off the upright.
What a great build-up from the Australians, who you were setting up how few shots they've had in this half. That means they're 4th now, and they worked the play really well from midfield all the way up. They get McGree making that run beyond the back line. It's Irvine rising, one of 2 Australians who could have headed it. No chance Lloris is getting to that one. In fact, Rabiot gets out of the way. They think it's wide. It does end up being wide, but just with a little kiss on the way out.
And a great ooh from the crowd as they saw the replay and the video screens. Maybe that can give Australia a little bit of a boost of confidence going into the break. As much as they've been statistically dominated, as much as they've lost their lead, it's only 2-1. There's a couple of exciting players that Australia, very young players, but dynamic players that they can bring off the bench, including Ramon Pablano, who was one of the key players that helped them to that World Cup qualifying playoff win in June. We'll see how France approaches the second half, getting that shock early. The goal against, the injury to their left back, all in the same moment. And all the angry headlines coming from the French media all at once before they were able to turn around the rest of the half. They still got about 3 minutes to play. In large part because of that injury, as Moy plays over the top, and that's going to curl out away from Aziz Bayic. Giroud coming back just to get a touch. He's frustrated as he almost got run over by the assistant referee. Sheeptards going long. Duke trying on the end of it. Can he get back to that touch? Hernandez running with him, cut him off. Out for an Australia throw. 2 minutes and change to go in the half. Australia's going to bring numbers forward here. Owen's taken in for Leckie. He got the assist on their goal. Leckie forced immediately back by Rabiot. Able to keep it, able to wriggle away. Leckie flipping it across, at least trying to for Goodwin. Well read by Pavard. How can Dembele get on the run? Can France add a third before the break? Ousmane Dembele, they can't catch up to him. They finally slow him up. Poke it away. That was good work by McGree. And then Moy, heavy touch, gives it right back. Hernandez able to chase it down and set it up for Kylian Mbappe. How do you see it here going to the break?
There's been a good response from the French. They go down early. We're talking a lot about Saudi Arabia and what they did and what would the reaction be also from a French team, knowing the stat that the last 3 champs have gone out in the group stage. And you just saw their quality take control of the game, the way in which they've moved the ball around, the chances that they've created. Ultimately, the goals that they scored, one comes off a turnover where Rabiot has some good pressure. Matty Ryan makes a bad decision and plays one of his players into a bad spot. And then they get one off of essentially a set piece where it's recycled, and Australia struggle to pick up their marks. There's a lot more to come in the second half. You're going to see a lot more French attack, and the challenge for the Australians is going to be picking their moments when to use the ball like this and when they think they can find some space and get in behind, which is going to be difficult against this French back line.
About 30 seconds to go. Didier Deschamps knows that history of defending champions. Each of the last 3 defending champions out on the group stage. Part of it because they weren't able to win their opener. We've been selling that hard last couple of days, how significant it is to win your opening match. Brazil 2006. The last defending champion just to win the opener. Unsurprisingly, that was an example of a team actually found at least some measure of success as a defending champion. It is hard to come back and do it a second time. Mbappe over the top, last chance of the half, brings it down very well on Atkinson. Trying to spin away, Atkinson wins that duel. Victor Gomez looks at his watch and ends the half. A half that saw Australia take a shocking early lead. A half that saw the defending champions roar back to life. Back to Jenny Taft we go in our studio on the Corniche. 45 minutes down, 45 to go in Al Janoub Stadium. France 2, Australia 1.
things that they didn't as the half wore on. I think they have to get pressure on the ball higher up the field. They can't continue to retreat deeper and deeper and deeper and not getting pressure, because it was so easy for the French team to move the ball, to shift them side to side, and then ultimately, when they wanted to really step it up a gear and find a way to get in behind their defense. It's a big task, though, for the Australians. They're outmatched in quality, they're outmatched physically, they're outmatched technically, and a lot of what Grant Arnold talked about was that fighting spirit. I don't think we've really seen that much of that in that first half.
Second half underway. 11 p.m. here in Qatar, 9 p.m. in Paris, 7 a.m. tomorrow in Sydney. We're in 239 days from tomorrow. Today in Australia, we'll be kicking off the FIFA Women's World Cup, July the 20th here on Fox. Australia, Republic of Ireland, New Zealand, and Norway in Auckland will be the two games on the opening day of the tournament. Meanwhile, the Socceroos, the Australian men, trying to find a way back. They were given a gift of sorts. I mean, Denmark and Tunisia scoreless draw. So if you lose this, you're not buried. You wonder, is it overthinking it to be not opening yourself up too much to try to tie it for the sake of goal differential, or do you just sort of go for this if you're Australia?
That's an interesting question, because I think you go for it early in the half, and then as the half goes on, then you maybe reevaluate where you're at. But they're certainly not thinking about that right now. They're thinking about, let's get an equalizer. Let's play the first 5-10 minutes of the second half well. Let's try to work our way up the field. Let's get some pressure on this French team, and let's see if we can just really put them under pressure for once. That's a good tackle to start there from Atkinson.
It's it back then from Irvine, who had that header clip off the outside of the post late in the half. And again, gets that in towards Duke, sliding through, and Konate is able to get a clearing touch, and then he's limping a little bit. That's an area they're very thin right now, France, because of injuries as center back. Irvine, long run for Atkinson. Able to get back up to it. Elects to keep it himself and gets a corner out of it. First corner of the entire game for Australia, who, oh, by the way, have the tallest field player at the entire tournament, 6'6" Harry Sutar, coming forward for this.
Slowly making his way up, and he is a big threat. Plays his club soccer for Stoke City in the Championship in England, the second division.
See if you can guess which one is the 6'6" guy.
Being marked by the way, a pretty tall guy in Upamecano, or two players, Australia, on top of Hugo Lloris. They're trying to create a lot of space there for the big three to go and attack the ball around the penalty spot.
In swinging ball to near post, and an easy header away by Griezmann. So frustrating there for Australia. You bring everybody up to get this great chance, then you got to scramble back. It was Goodwin there who scored the goal for Australia. Couldn't get that ball past the first line. Ryan, heavy first touch. He's got to scramble out to there with Giroud for company. Griezmann breaks that down so well over his shoulder. Hands it off for Pavard. The return from Giroud. Great tackle by Bajic. Pavard tried to take it away from behind. Didn't get the foul called and misplays it out for a French throw. He's Bajic, one of the handful of players based in Scotland. There's a lot of Scottish ties on this Australia roster. Allegedly, there's a group of Scottish fans who have traveled, A, to support anyone other than England, B, to support Australia. Somewhere in the building here. Could be a couple of Scottish-born players on the Australia roster. Griezmann opens it up for Theo Hernandez, who replaced his older brother, came off injured on that Australia goal. And that'll be a concern going forward for France, one of their returning starters from their World Cup title 4.5 years ago in Russia. Pablano trying to direct traffic, lifts it up. Theo Hernandez got inside Atkinson. Theo Hernandez cutting it back all the way through. Chouameni blocked. Giroud beaten to the second ball by Bajic. And then Duke couldn't hold it up. Upamecano back out wide for Theo Hernandez. Lecky can't get there. Cross in. Giroud puts it wide. Oh.
Wow, he is inches away from... No, I don't want to take anything away from the Saudi Arabia goal we saw earlier, but I think this would have been the best we would have seen in the tournament so far. Theo Hernandez stands it up. He's backpedaling. It's behind him. Only one option at that point. More of a scissor kick on the side. Everything is good. The technique is good. Leaves his feet at the right point. Catches the ball at the top. Just a couple, about a foot wide in the end from Giroud. He's feeling confident.
And he almost got to that back pass. Rolls had to throw his body in the way.
He's scored some spectacular goals in his career.
Early ball, Duke trying to chase in behind. Pamecano got the touch. Lloris can't use his hands there. Tough one for Rabiot to deal with. Sort of dummies it along, but it's picked up in the middle by McGree. Options forward for Australia right now. Here's Goodwin, and he'll retreat it. Aaron Moy pivots across for Irvine. Wide for Matthew Leckie. Atkinson making the run inside of him. Leckie into the middle, poked away, can't get back to it. And a crucial tackle there to prevent the breakout. It's going to come back anyway for a foul. And a free kick for France.
Yeah, there it is. McGree with the foot in on Chouameni. Tackle behind the play. You can see, though, Australia aren't sitting as deep as they were in the first half. They're actually trying to get pressure on France now higher up and putting a little bit of pressure on the center backs. So it means their lines are a little stretched. They're playing a higher back line. There's space in behind. France so far, this time going down the right-hand side. Almost 2/3 of their attacks have been down the left.
That's where Kylian Mbappe is. It makes sense. Dembele trying to find Mbappe, poked away by Atkinson.
Back to the left again.
Mbappe slips away from Atkinson, clipping that up. Late run on the backside. That was Pavard, came all the way forward. Griezmann tries to hold it in, gives it away. Irvine has runners. Can he find him in stride? It will run out. I was going to go back to the Giroud one. What would you say is the sort of the definition of the line between a scissor kick and a bicycle kick? That seems to be a matter of debate.
I would say the scissor kick comes more from the side, and the bicycle kick's more of over the top of you, more verticality. Neither of them are easy. Neither of them are easy to pull or easy for me to say.
Or easy to talk about, indeed, as Jackson Irvine commits that foul on Theo Hernandez.
Higher degree of difficulty, though, on a bicycle kick than a scorpion kick.
Oh, free kick.
Or a scissor kick. Let's just leave that one alone, shall we?
We'll circle back to the scorpion one for a minute there. I'm just going to compile a list. Kylian Mbappe stands over it. Activity on the French bench right now. Australian players warming up as well. Mbappe hooks that one in. Ryan lets it go all the way out. Kylian Mbappe so popular for France. He actually received 10 votes in the French presidential election earlier this year, write-in votes. Almost got on the end of that one. Irvine takes it away. His popularity would only increase from there if he can help lead France to a back-to-back World Cup title.
That's a good-looking ball. They've actually had some success doing that in this game, the Australians. Actually what led to their goal. Long cross-field switch of the ball, because when the ball's on one side of the field, a defense really rotates over. They get a lot of numbers on that side. So if you can quickly get it out to the other end, you end up 1 against 1, 1 against 2 against 1. You can create those overloads and create attacking opportunities. It's actually what they've tried to do a lot, is look for that opposite winger who stands on the touchline just waiting for the ball.
Duke back from McGree, returns from Mitchell Duke. Tight quarters ran away from him, and then he fouls. And the French players are running over to let him hear about it.
I'm actually surprised that's not a yellow card. And
it might well be.
There you go.
There
It
you
is.
go.
Yeah. It's really late there.
Dembele went down.
Loses possession. And Dembele steps in, and there it is. It's the follow through. The right leg ends up coming through the back and catching Dembele's left leg.
Duke, who plays in the Japanese second division. Not dissimilar from the United States. Australia's had a bit of a revolving door trying to figure out their center forward position. He got the start of this one. Australia will make a substitution in just a moment. Jason Cummings is preparing to come on. It would just be his second ever international appearance at the age of 27. Trying to spring something forward for the Socceroos, who aren't out of this yet. It's a one-goal game. And the French are comfortable. It's not like they've really been pelting Matty Ryan's goal. Just 2 of their 12 shots have been on target. Both goals. 10 times they've missed the target, including that Giroud scissor kick a moment ago as that sails past Dembele. And here comes the change. So it'll be Duke. Just got the yellow card, who makes way. Cummings 2 years ago was playing in the 3rd tier of English soccer, has found great success since coming back to Australia. In January, plays for Central Coast Mariners. Actually one of the other Scottish-born players, but his mother's Australia. Scottish youth international, played twice for Scotland, in fact. And now this is his 2nd appearance for Australia as the first sub of the game.
He's an interesting player, too. Really hard worker, plays with a high intensity, likes to drop underneath like this and pick up the ball and bring other players into play as well. And I was talking back to the game now. Can he drop a little bit deeper? Can he get on the ball? Can he still continue to stretch and make those runs in behind the French back line to keep them honest?
He's been on the field 30 seconds. He's already getting chided by the referee for sort of wrapping around Konate there, trying to pin him back. Rabiot has it knocked away from behind. Konate first to react, and Griezmann opens it up. Upamecano and Theo Hernandez comes back inside for Griezmann. Dembele, Rivard, Rabiot, goal and an assist tonight for France. Chouameni. Rabiot under some pressure right now. He's got a little loose there for France, able to keep it. Dembele running at Bajic. Gets some support from Goodwin. Dembele cuts it back. Got a little pocket of space. Hooks in that cross. Looking for Theo Hernandez. Headed away. You can hear Graham Arnold shouting instructions. Trying to keep his team going as his counterpart Didier Deschamps sitting on the bench right now. Just bounced off Goodwin on the outside, but alert defending by Konate to win it right back for France. Ousmane Dembele wrapped up, able to get away. Is this particularly dangerous for Australia right now?
Not particularly, but that's also because the French seem quite content in just possessing and shifting the ball. It is starting to look like what we saw towards the end of the second half. The first half, rather. The second half of the first half. But now they're doing a better job of not allowing those gaps wide, and then when the ball is going back, they're stepping out a little bit quicker. It's not sitting back so deep, and they've won the ball back. So not particularly threatening, but also for Australia, not going to help them get a goal.
That sort of summed up a lot of the French fans' atmosphere right now. Just sort of watching with crossed arms, wanting to be impressed. That'll do it. And now Rabiot on the outside for Mbappe. The cross. Overcooked, but Dembele picks it up on the other side. Griezmann now in for Mbappe. Back heel blocked by Sheeptards. And then just an outlet ball to relieve the pressure, but nothing coming forward for the Socceroos. When Graham Arnold is yelling shape right there, what's he mean?
Yeah, he means get back into the formation, which is their 4-5-1 defensive formation, and quickly get back into that same posture that you've seen the last couple of minutes. So while they don't have the ball, the Australians are still doing a good job of staying organized defensively and disciplined and sticking to the game plan in which they have. And really haven't allowed too many clear-cut attacking opportunities in the second half for France.
How tiring is this, though?
Very.
He's knocked away. Tchouaméni down behind the play. Mbappe, Giroud. Mbappe's going to get there, but it's out. It was a late tackle. No, it's just a miss. Boy, Mbappe's running to the corner flag. The French cannot believe this hasn't been given as a corner.
He's going to change his mind.
And he has changed his mind. It was Rolls who stepped in there. It'll be a France corner after all.
And Mbappe's body language of, I told you so. It's a corner. And this is where they come to life, though. This is where the shape, they got out of their shape there, trying to break forward. Now there's a gap in the midfield that France so quickly exploited with a quick 1-2, and then just the acceleration of Kylian Mbappe to get on the end of that. A slight deflection in another corner.
6th of the night. Mbappe too quick for Victor Gomez, the referee. Pavard with a nice little touch there off screen that some of the fans appreciated. Mbappe will do it again. Over the final half an hour. And at the near post, looking for Griezmann, sent away. 30 minutes to go at Al Janoub Stadium. Translates from Arabic as Stadium of the South. We are the southernmost venue at this World Cup in Qatar. Al Wakra, suburb to the south of Doha. 40,000 capacity, beautiful stadium. Watching as Australia took a shocking early lead as the defending champions France coming from behind with goals 5 minutes apart midway through the first half. Kylian Mbappe brings it down. Atkinson trying to recover, pulling at his shirt. A little bit of a hip shimmy to get away from Mbappe. Errant pass though, but comfortably enough for Pavard just to step in and keep for France. They dominated this statistically. They only have a 1-goal lead, at least for now. Theo Hernandez into the middle. Mbappe blocked. That was Moy, got a hand in. Griezmann might be offside in this sequence. It's given as a corner.
Again, down the left-hand side, though, where they've had a lot of success. This time Mbappe had come inside, made his way into the box, but it also opened up some space then for Theo Hernandez, their left back, to get into the attack. He had a nice-looking cutback ball for Mbappe, but he cannot find a window of space to get a good quality shot off on goal. The Aussies doing a good job of blocking him.
Griezmann this time a little deeper, rising up.
Has been excellent. This time just allows Konate to meet it at full extension on the jump, and he's trying to redirect that header towards the back post. Just ends up glancing it too far wide.
I mean, we've seen 2 of them tonight. Mbappe's not been quite as solid as Griezmann. We were talking about the struggles for the U.S. last night. It seems like a fairly simplistic skill to just set in a good set piece, but it does seem like something that there are certain players that excel at and plenty of teams that seem to struggle.
It's a really interesting conversation about set pieces, because in theory you think, well, how can you not kick the ball from the corner and put it in the penalty spot and give your... as Luis almost gets caught. Takes me back to flashbacks of the World Cup final when he got his pocket picked and gave away a goal to Croatia that got them back in the game.
Well, Australia a little bit of a boost right now. Griezmann fights in to win it. It's going to be a foul. Did you want to lead back to your self-deprecating anecdote? Or? All right. Mbappe. Anyway, we'll get back to you in a minute. Here's Kylian Mbappe. Atkinson trying to recover. Mbappe blocked by Atkinson. Like he couldn't slide through on Theo Hernandez to win the ball back. He missed that chance a minute ago off the corner. Live for Ousmane Dembele. Pressure there. Irvine came through. Big shot. Second time that Tchouaméni has taken a really hard tackle. He's down in pain. There's no whistle. It's going to be played out by Hugo Lloris. Didier Deschamps yelling at the official, putting a stern look back for the 4th official on the sideline.
And especially with Conte out, that's a player you can't afford to lose. It's a late tackle from Irvine on the back of Tchouaméni. The ball had already gone. Ends up, looks like glancing over the top of his foot with the contact.
22-year-old from Real Madrid, a transfer this summer that could reach up to $100 million. Just debuted a little over a year ago, though. Didier Deschamps in a long chat there. Salima Mukansanga of Rwanda, the first African woman ever to be a referee at a men's World Cup. She is the 4th official tonight. Arnold smiling as he sort of just backs away from that tired confrontation. Tchouameni is back out. 25 minutes to go. It's already a French team. They do have one fewer player than you're allowed. They originally named 25 to their roster. They added a 26. Then they lost Benzema, elected not to have a replacement. Deschamps said, listen, we won the World Cup with 23 last time. We'll be fine without 26. But that's going to be a big talking point. Center midfield and center back in particular.
And it's interesting, we're talking about the French center backs, Upamecano and Konate. Upamecano, it's his 8th cap. Konate, it's his 3rd cap. They're 23 and 24, but yet play for Bayern Munich and Liverpool. So 2 of the best clubs in the world. Maybe inexperienced at the international level, but at the club level, not so much.
Well, Hernandez, Mbappe returns. Hernandez to the byline. Mbappe missed to Griezmann. Saved off the line. Aziz Bayich just kept Australia alive. It's got the French fans back alive. Teo Hernandez in for Mbappe. One all the way through. It's going to stay in play. Dembele's first there. Dembele on Bayich, who just saved a goal. Hooked the cross in. Mbappe in off the post. Kylian Mbappe. France have their 3rd.
Well, they've just been continuing to work the left-hand side through Mbappe and Hernandez. It's how they initially get deep into Australian territory. It comes across the other way. Here it is. Look, this time Mbappe is inside the other side of Atkinson. A great-looking ball, and then he senses an opportunity here. Starts to drift into the box, waits then for Dembele. He knows he's going to create a half-yard of space to put a dangerous bending ball. There's only one man in there at that point, and it's Mbappe, and it finds his head. Missed a pretty easy chance in the first half. Over the crossbar from inside 6 yards. This one makes no mistake. Glancing header. A little kiss off the inside of the post, and it's in the back of the net. Just a mere seconds after Australia and Bayich had cleared one off the line. And finally, France, for all that domination in the half, it was still just a 1-goal game, but they find that 3rd one now and give themselves a 2-goal cushion.
Atkinson quickly forward. Upamecano heads it away. Lecky trying to escape and can't. 29 goals in 60 games for France. 5 of them now at World Cups. At the age of 23, turns 24 2 days after the final. Will it be an early birthday present? Boy, what a gut punch for Australia. Hanging on, hanging on. You get that one saved off the line. You think, okay, all right, we survived that moment, and then less than 60 seconds later.
This is the type of sustained pressure, though, that the French can maintain. Here comes Bayich now.
Trying to get through, and Konate's not going to let him. They're going to have a wrestling match down there, and well, Bayich gets it out for a throw. And we're talking about the Aussie fighting spirit they have in the final 20 minutes. Lecky there was a tough one for him to deal with. Hernandez trying to turn the corner.
Hernandez has had a sensational game since coming in for his brother, Hernandez, who went out injured. He comes off the bench, and his ability in the attack with the left foot and the quality of crosses he's provided, much like this quality cross from Ousmane Dembele, connecting with his counterpart on the opposite wing, and Kylian Mbappe. This is the one that was cleared off the line. It was Griezmann who was inches away, and then even the clearance from Bajic just missing Kylian Mbappe on the follow-up as he was trying to get in the box. You can tell, though, this French front line is hungry for more. And they've been good. Giroud's got a goal. Griezmann's been excellent in helping be the provider. Rabiot from deep is getting into the attack.
There's Mbappe again. Gosh. Atkinson left in the dust, able to recover, and Mbappe just sort of letting him back in so he can beat him a second time for Giroud! Turning into a rout right now. Giroud's second. France's fourth. Defending champs looking pretty good here in Qatar.
Well, if the last World Cup was the first time that you learned about Kylian Mbappe, and this is the second time you're seeing him, yes, I confirm, this young man has gotten even better. Scoring goals, being the provider, and for a man, Olivier Giroud, we have to mention, scored no goals in the last World Cup that France won. This time, 2 in the opening match. The ball goes wide to Mbappe. Atkinson so far away that then when you get him, he gets you off balance like that. That first touch, a little off hesitation to the right, then the acceleration down the left. By that time, it's too late for a second defender to come over and help. And he just stands it up. It's a great little culture ball with the left foot. Bending away means Matt Ryan can't come out and get it. Bajic misjudges it at the back post. And then Giroud just has to focus and head it down, keep it on target, get over the top of it. That's what he does. And Didier Deschamps is happy. Giroud is happy. The French team are happy. The French fans are happy because this is the type of start that they would have wanted to see for the defending champions.
And it is history for Olivier Giroud, who is now tied to Thierry Henry on 51 goals for the all-time France goal-scoring record. And Australia making changes. France will make changes. Mobile and Garang Kwol are both on. There you go. Thierry Henry, Olivier Giroud. Both World Cup winners, both with 51 goals. And Giroud might well be tonight. And he takes that record for his own.
I'm sure Nathan Atkinson wouldn't mind coming out of this game at this point, so he doesn't have to see any more of Kylian Mbappe on his side.
Well, it was a clever try there. Australia actually restarted with 12 men on the field because Craig Goodwin didn't know he'd been subbed off. And Garang Kwol and Our Mobile had both come onto the field, so that was an alert officiating crew to that one. France were losing this game?
No.
We were all saying, here we go again. Bad France World Cup defense. Wall just on the field. Gonna roll that in for Cummings. Camp in Egypt. Our Mobile came on as well. His parents were South Sudanese refugees. He was born in a refugee camp in Kenya. As a third member of the roster, Thomas Deng. South Sudanese refugee parents born in a refugee camp. And they all came to Australia as children. As Mbappe just glides and strides his way to that ball. Atkinson getting really tired of this right now.
Oh, he's got the nutmeg too. He's feeling it. He is feeling it. Even from the first minute, you talked about the tricks and flicks and just a simple 5-yard pass. That, what he was going for right there, was pure humiliation, which he's essentially done all game long to Atkinson. But to throw a little nutmeg and roll it between his legs and beat him again, that would have been humiliation.
Getting towards the holiday season.
And we've still got 15 minutes to go.
If you're Australia right now, is it just damage limitation at this point?
At this point, 100%.
Bill lays that off. And Australia have now matched the most goals they've ever allowed in a World Cup game. They lost 4-0 to Germany in 2010 in the group. Long run for Atkinson. Will come all the way out and see if France will make their changes now. And who's going to get curtain calls? Kingsley Coman's going to come on. It'll be Chouameni, took a couple of hard knocks. He'll be coming off. Youssouf Fofana will be on as Ousmane Dembele makes way. Fofana, 23-year-old, just his third international appearance, and he's wearing that number 13 N'Golo Kante wore at the last World Cup. Kingsley Coman, one of the stars at Bayern Munich for a few years, one of 4 French players at Bayern. Actually the most of any club sending players to this French team. That was the big shock earlier today. We thought we were going to follow that, not quite. Saudi Arabia coming from behind to beat Argentina. 36 games unbeaten in international soccer, dating back 3.5 years. It was one shy. They would have tied the all-time record, Argentina, with a result. Mexico and Poland. Guillermo Ochoa saving a Robert Lewandowski penalty kick for a scoreless draw. Denmark, Tunisia, the other game in this group with France and Australia. That finished scoreless, despite 5 shots on goal for the Danes. Very popular pick by a lot of people to make a big run. Frustrating start for them. It will be France against Denmark Saturday at Stadium 974. That was where the Mexico game was, the one made with all the different shipping containers in central Doha. Tunisia will come here on Saturday. Australia playing all 3 of their games in this same stadium, Al Janoub Stadium. Here's Cummings now. Can Australia fashion something? Leckie takes the bump from Giroud. That's going to be a free kick.
He's clever, Leckie here. You're going to see him lean into Giroud. Giroud's trying to stay with shoulder to shoulder, and then he just was stronger in the tackle. But Leckie right there goes into him to feel the contact, takes the contact, goes to the ground, and that's where the free kick comes from. And it's going to be Aaron Moy now, a chance to deliver this set piece.
Lloris has had very little to do. Hasn't made a save. The one shot on goal is the one that beat him. Moy drops that in. Popped in the air by Konate. Ball was out jumped for the second ball. Leckie brings it down. And a reminder, the second game for the United States coming up on Black Friday. Much anticipated matchup with England. Coverage starts at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, live on Fox. The Americans unbeaten in 2 prior meetings with England at the FIFA Men's World Cup. Stu was a part of the team that got a draw in 2010. And a win in 1950. One of the biggest upsets in World Cup history, alongside what Saudi Arabia did today. This is the standings in Group B. 6-2 thumping England over Iran in the other game in the group yesterday. That was behind Cummings. Upamecano able to keep it. Strong challenge in the middle there on Irvine, nipping at his heels, fouls him as he releases it.
Now he's going to get his yellow. He missed out on one earlier. Made sure he got a good chunk out of Upamecano as he was trying to accelerate past him and play a pass wide to Kingsley Coman.
So Jackson Irvine joining the subbed-off Mitchell Duke as the 2 players booked. Tomorrow we will see former champions Germany and Spain. We'll see the runners-up from 4 years ago, Croatia. We'll see Belgium, last chance for their golden generation. They will all take the field tomorrow. Thursday, Brazil, winningest team in World Cup history, will be on the field for the first time. We'll be there for the game against Serbia. Uruguay, 2-time winners, will be on the field. Portugal, really nothing much at all going on with Cristiano Ronaldo right now, right? He's just having a very focused...
Hey, he's going to be in the shop window.
...preparation for this World Cup. Yeah, operators are standing by if you're interested in Cristiano Ronaldo. leaving Manchester United by mutual consent hours ago. If you're those teams, what are your takeaways from the first 2 rounds of matches so far?
Well, it's been a mixed bag, hasn't it? You've seen some strong performances from tournament contenders like England. Not so much from Argentina. It'll be fascinating to get a look at Brazil. We're talking about favorites for the tournament. Brazil and Argentina were 2 of the top ones. France is up there as well. Brazil just absolutely stacked with attacking talent against a Serbian team that I think is in that conversation with Denmark about teams that could potentially make a surprise.
Why is that? What makes you intrigued with Serbia?
Their attacking talent, first of all. Vlahovic, Mitrovic, Dusan Tadic as well. Those 3 are the best attackers that you can find in Europe, and I think that makes them dangerous, really well organized, good in European qualifying as well. So I think they could cause the Brazilian team some problems.
Kingsley come on, under-hit pass that he intercepts. Mbappe has Giroud in the middle, sitting on a hat trick and a record. Does Mbappe want this one himself? No, he's looking for Giroud. It's sent away by Rolls. Ramon holds it in. Rabiot just tracking him as it comes back to Pavard. Final 10 minutes here. What looked like might be a big shock. Australia taking the early lead has turned into a rout for the defending champions, France. And they might not be done yet as Olivier Giroud with 2 goals already, tying the all-time France record. Can he get past Thierry Henry's total of 51 goals tonight? That Brazil-Serbia game, the second of a doubleheader here on Fox, Thanksgiving Day. Moy slides through. Mbappe almost got away. Moy and Atkinson doing just enough. Griezmann wins it back. France aren't done. They're still going for it. Here's Mbappe! And he couldn't bring it under control. Matty Ryan able to snare it.
A rare missed touch in this second half for Kylian Mbappe. He made such a good run. Everything was good. The pass from Griezmann as well. It just got away from him, skipped into the hands, the thankful hands of Matty Ryan at the end of that. He's so frustrated. He wants that other goal, just has such high standards and expectations. Just a little pick-out pass, just chipped over the top of Atkinson. He's trying to let it run across his body, and just to take a little sting out of the ball with his right foot to stop it and take it on his second touch, but didn't get enough on it.
2 more substitutions in the wings for Australia at the next opportunity, including Milos Degenek of the Columbus Crew is going to be coming on, along with Hernandez. Australia just trying to get out of here. Again, they were given a lift. The Denmark-Tunisia draw. Goal differential is going to become a concern here, but they'll play Tunisia next. If they can get a win in that one, it'll be really in their hands as they finish out the group with Denmark. He's been holding off Irvine there. France are just toying with Australia once again. They've outshot them 19-4. Only 4 of those 19 have hit the target. Matty Ryan, no saves. Just 4 times he's had to pull the ball out of the back of his own net. So here come the subs for Australia. Jackson Irvine will make way. Milos Degenek, let's get another MLS player on the field of the Columbus Crew. Joined him just this year. And Nathaniel Atkinson will be the other player taken off as Keanu Backus comes on for just his 2nd ever international appearance.
And Milos Degenek, you get the lucky or unlucky task of having to defend Kylian Mbappe on this near right side.
And then you get the puppet master, Garth Longerway, in charge of Atlanta United in your Eastern Conference when you return to Columbus. He was just named, I don't know what his official title was. We just saw a headline, but that was the big news in MLS just before we came on with this game. Ball tries to come away from that one. Degenek really is an incredible story, though. He was born in Croatia. His family fled to Belgrade as war broke out. He was 18 months old, and then war came to Belgrade. And They were able to flee as refugees to Australia when he was 6 years old, but all the while he dealt with just tons of illnesses and medical problems. And Degenek in interviews has said his whole childhood, illness, hospitals, injections, oxygen masks, along with bombs, sirens, and shelters. That was all normal for him as a child until the age of 6. Think about that. When his family was able to come to Australia, resettle, build a new life. Talked about the number of players on their roster born in refugee camps in Africa. Graham Arnold has spoken with pride about the multicultural nature of this Australia roster and what the country has provided, bringing in a lot of families in just incredible distress. Just to think about having a lot of really incredible stories of these players that have made the World Cup roster for the Socceroos. France add a fifth, and they're going to make 2 more substitutions of their own when they get the opportunity. Including the son of a World Cup winner and their all-time appearance leader. Hugo Lloris, incidentally, 140th appearance, the France goalkeeper, bringing him just 2 back of the all-time French appearance record held by Lilian Thuram. It's his son Marcus who's about to come on as a substitute to make his World Cup debut. Coman's cross, and Ryan there in some traffic, able to grab it. He's taking a first touch in his World Cup debut. It really is a contrast. Remember, France 4 years ago, they struggled. They labored against Australia. An own goal for a 2-1 win. That this is as comfortable as it is. Boy, under pressure, lost it. Advantage going to be played as Mbappe picks it up. It's Fofana's challenge. Griezmann in for Kylian Mbappe. Back out for Antoine Griezmann. All the way out for Benjamin Pavard. Pavard's cross in. That's too far. Degenek didn't hear the shout. Nods it out behind for a corner. And France will make their substitutions here. So Pavard will make way. Jules Koundé, he's been struggling with an injury of late. Able to get him a few minutes. And Olivier Giroud will not break the French scoring record tonight. He will be withdrawn on 2 goals on the night. 51 for his career level with Thierry Henry. Replaced by Marcus Thuram, who was a late add to the roster because of injury. Just his 3rd international appearance at the age of 25.
Yeah, such an experienced striker, Olivier Giroud, at the age of 36. World Cup winner, veteran team guy, and has a whole ton of quality. You saw that, and also you saw the reaction of his teammates when he scored that first one and now the second, and he gets the big hug from his coach as well. And the curtain call on his way out. That is a great sign for a French team that loses Karim Benzema days before the tournament starts, and then you get your striker Giroud scoring 2 goals.
Griezmann, the ensuing corner, saved by Ryan. Look at that come off in there. There were bodies flying all over. It's Matty Ryan's first save of the whole game on France's 5th shot on goal. And a reminder for a wrap-up ball to World Cup highlight special guests and in-depth insight. It's World Cup tonight. Kaird Abdo-Moadou, and America's #1 World Cup fan, Chad Ochocinco, giving us his fan experience. He's at our game right now, in fact. That's tonight at midnight on Fox as we wrap up our first 4-game day.
That's fun seeing. He's zipping around every stadium.
He's not messing around.
The U.S. game, big smile on his face, shooting back to the set to film the night show, and as the header ends up coming in, it's off Konate in the end and into the ground. It actually pops up, and Ryan has to react quickly across his goal to push that one aside. He would have loved to score a goal, and his 3rd cap for his country would have been his first international goal.
These referees are not messing around with stoppage time. 7 added minutes coming.
I was actually getting ready to say I thought we'd see a low number in this one.
Nope. Effective match time. Big point of emphasis to the referees here at the World Cup from FIFA that we play the entire 90 minutes. Griezmann in. Rising up there was Theo Hernandez climbing the ladder over Degenek, and that's Ryan's second save. Ball to chase, and they're just going to let it run out. France out shooting Australia 11-0 in the second half, 21-4 in the ninth. So if we kind of wondered, would Australia be able to mount a challenge in the second half? How would France play with the lead? They have slammed the door shut. Denmark and then Tunisia to finish out this group. But they, like England, have laid an early marker down in the first 2.5 days at this World Cup. Kingsley come on. Spins away, keeps his footing. And for Griezmann, the return. Page cut him off. And is able to hook it around and get it clear. Ziyech, who had that save off the line at 2-1 the score. Might have been a boost for Australia, but less than 60 seconds later. That was when Mbappe scored. 3 minutes after that, Giroud got his second, and it was game over. An Australia team that took the lead in the 9th minute, and we thought, are we seeing our second shock upset of the day after Saudi Arabia came from behind to one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history in beating Lionel Messi in Argentina. Kingsley, come on. Spins away, hands it back to Rabiot. Goal and assist in the first half for him. As France came from behind to take the lead. Come on, spins inside. Mbappe gets away and poked out. Last off Mbappe as Rolls was defending for a goal kick.
They're still probing, still trying to find another goal. Looking for that 5th goal. The amount of substitutions they've made, and then still such a high level of quality on the field. Every single player that plays in those wide spots, beating guys off the dribble, little combination passes, and even when they're in this mode, these French fans are loving it. Because it's an exhibition mode. You're going for nutmegs, your tricks and flicks and spins every single way. That tells the story. 21 attempts for the French, 6 attempts on target, 4 goals. The Aussies 1 attempt on target, 1 goal, not even a shot in the second half. So this is not a game that the Australian team would have expected to win, though. So for them, it's about the other 2 matches that they're going to have now, and that's why you've seen some of the subs they've made, recognizing this game's done.
So that was my question. Does this change your opinion of France at this World Cup as a defending champion?
Not necessarily. One of the big questions I have is about some of their inexperience, and that hasn't been tested in this game. Inexperience at the back. Konate, Upamecano, Koundé, whoever plays, these are guys that don't have a lot of international games. They're very good players. They play at some big teams, but it's going to be different when you get into a round of 16 or a quarterfinal and you're matched up against some of the big boys. That's when we're going to find out about this French team. I didn't worry about them getting out of the group, and it certainly gives me more confidence that they're going to get out of the group, as Aaron Moyes going to pick up a yellow for that tackle. But I think
Hernandez's big shout there.
Yeah. He's up now, though.
Replacing his older brother due to a serious-looking injury on the Australia goal.
But I think it'll be a little for some of the other teams looking at France and thinking, wow, well, they've lost Kanté and Pogba and Nkunku and Karim Benzema, the Ballon d'Or, the best player in the world last year, and then they're looking like this. That would be just a little bit of a reminder that this French team is immensely talented.
The one Saturday against Denmark's really intriguing.
Yes.
Because you're wondering about Denmark now after the scoreless draw with Tunisia. Can France, do it again and thump a team of a higher level of quality and really send a message? Mbappe effortlessly gets away from Degenek. It's controlled by Coman, but it works on the outside. Jules Koundé, Kingsley Coman can't get there. It looked like from up here that was out, but it was no, that does come up.
The linesman just wanted him to do another 10-yard sprint and then raise the flag.
Sone of Lesotho, the assistant referee on that far side, just had to think about it. And we're down to the final 2 minutes here. Frustrating night for Graham Arnold. Really talked so much about, we're not even going to say France. We're just going to call them blue. Just 11 yellow shirts versus 11 blue shirts. Let's bring the fight to them.
Well, that blue team's pretty good.
Did not play out. Again, there is an openness in this group going forward. That's the trick. You suffer a loss like this, you got to turn around and get ready because you're not done. And that scoreless draw earlier was a real lift for Australia. They're only 1 point back in the line they have to chase. Who are you excited to see tomorrow? Germany, Spain, Croatia, Belgium amongst the teams.
Yes.
Canada back at the World Cup for the first time since '86.
Every game, every slate of match day that you look at, there's teams that you can get excited about. It's going to come back for a foul. I'm intrigued by Germany, though. Hansi Flick, first time we'll have seen Germany at a World Cup with a new coach in 2 different tournaments. Very successful and accomplished coach at the club level. Did so well. He was part of Jürgen Löw's staff on that World Cup winning team in 2014. Led Bayern Munich to the treble, won the Champions League, wins the domestic league, now takes charge of this German team that has a lot of experience, but also some really young, exciting players as well. And I want to see what we're going to make of Spain. Not big number 9. Morata will probably be that guy, but then kind of that next generation, Pedri, Gavi, with Rodri and that type of experience in there. So they're a team that can make some noise too.
Last chance for Australia. Final seconds to get something back. Lecky return to the outside. And it's a diving attempt. Hugo Lloris really had nothing to do all night. He was able to dive forward and grab that as Bajic got the cross in. That's how it will end. France are the champions. And they showed it tonight. Got down early, came from behind. Olivier Giroud, a pair of goals to tie Thierry Henry's all-time record. Plenty more to talk about with Jenny Taft and our corny set as it finishes here at Al Janoub Stadium. France 4, Australia 1.